Stealth Inc., A Clone in the Dark, may be a game you have never played if you happen to be a Nintendo-centric gamer like myself, and rightly so, considering the game never made its way to any Nintendo platform ever since its debut back in 2011, where its name wasn't exactly family-friendly. But unbeknownst to Nintendo fans too busy meowing it up in Mario 3D World and sacrificing colorful little minions in the good old Pikmin 3, the developer Curve Studios came out of the blue and announced a sequel to their praised 2D platformer as a Wii U exclusive. Score 1 for the Wii U, baby. Curve Studios are also the minds behind the hit WiiWare title Fluidity, which is yet another game I haven't played, and it's nice to see the team coming back to the world of Nintendo and delivering a tasty treat just for us. And what a treat it is, because Stealth Inc. 2, A Game of Clones, is an all-around superb game that makes a delightful addition to the Wii U's ever-expanding eShop. Stealth Inc. 2 is part stealth, part puzzler, and part platformer, as you guide your little goggle-wearing clone throughout a massive testing facility and escape its sinister grasp. The way the game is set up is rather interesting and not something you see all too often, because the stage selection is in essence placed within a giant Metroidvania-styled world. Yes, all 60 plus stages are spread throughout this gargantuan cloning facility, and to get to them you'll need to platform through obstacles, solve puzzles, and avoid the fatal gazes from a variety of security robots by hiding in the shadows, or else your clone's body parts will get sprayed across the room. Don't worry, there's more where he came from. Essentially, the open world is one giant stage itself, and why I describe it as being Metroid-like is because you'll come across new equipment throughout, and those new handy-dandy tools are used to access new areas of the map. Samus Aran would be proud. The gear you come across call for some interesting and dynamic puzzle solutions that will have you stop and thinking for a second, or maybe even a few. Plus, they're not one-trick ponies, such as one item, the Inflatomate, can be inflated to weigh down triggers to open doors, or even be used as a launching pad to reach greater heights, and so on. Curve Studios did a great job in really utilizing these gadgets to their full potential, and they can get you thinking in creative ways. On a side note, I like that the gameplay stops when you cycle through your equipment, trying to find whatever's right for the current situation. That way you don't have to stress out about some rampaging robot sneaking up and blowing you to smithereens. And even though the overworld may come with its own tests and trials, the quick-fire, robust stages you're on the lookout for will come with their own surprises. Now, what makes the individual levels different is that they are more compact and they will each revolve around just one piece of equipment at a time. The stages are definitely the highlight and meat and potatoes of Stealth Inc. 2, with hazards and puzzles around every corner as you hack computers, crawl through tight corridors, stealth it up, and eventually reach the comforting, bright, shining light of the end game. I also like that each stage just focuses on one tool, and that way you really get to see a lot of different ways one single piece of equipment could be utilized. And also, the puzzles don't become so convoluted that you're haphazardly switching gear every 5 seconds. Another great addition that Curve Studios made is an option on the main menu where you can cycle through all the levels in the game quickly once you've beaten them, like any normal stage select screen. That way, you don't have to spend minutes on end wandering throughout the labyrinth-like overworld to get to a level you want to take a stab at again. It is a neat concept to have the stages housed within the overworld itself, but having an actual level select screen for subsequent attempts is very welcoming. Curve Studios even took the time to add in a stage creator so you can, well, create your own levels. Honestly, I barely put any time into it because I'm not exactly the type who likes to spend countless hours creating their own stages, but it does seem to work fairly well. You can even use the gamepad touchscreen to move objects around, which is definitely a great addition so your movements can be that much quicker. But since Stealth Inc. 2 is part puzzler, it can be fairly complicated to try and figure out where to place all the various gizmos and gadgets, but if you dedicate enough time to it, you'll probably figure it out. Anywho, for those who do muster up the courage to create their own stages, you can even share them with people online, essentially giving you another stream of replayability, so that's a plus. And if you're looking for a game that is jam-packed with a ton of delicious content that will keep you busy for over a dozen hours in just the main game itself, then Stealth Inc. 2 is calling your name.
Bradley. Who said that?
The open world aspect is plump full of secrets and hidden goodies for you to scavenge for, whether that be over 30 different articles of clothing for your miniature clone to wear so it can be an oh-so-glorious court jester or a mighty pirate sailing the 7 seas. And then there's the 2 bonus stages found in each section of the testing facility to give you even more puzzling goodness. And all that just has to deal with the overworld itself, as all 60 plus levels has their own replayability as well. Each stage has a set number of clones that you can try to find, rescue, and lead to the end goal without blowing up into a bajillion pieces like some sort of Mario vs. Donkey Kong title. And you can also test your memory skills by setting your sights on nabbing the coveted S ranking in each and every stage. Stealth Inc. 2 knows how to keep you busy, and for such a low asking price of $15, it's quite the steal. It's also nice to see that some features were implemented into the gamepad itself, as it acts as a handy handy map that you can glance down to quickly so you know you're going in the right direction without having to pop open a menu constantly. It's just convenient. Plus, you can quickly change your clone's appearance with a few presses on the touchscreen, which really isn't that big of a deal, but hey, it makes things easier. And taking things a step further, a friend can even join in locally in a full co-op mode where one player controls the clone while the other uses a variety of tools on the gamepad to keep the player protected. But it's not something that I got the chance to try out with another human being, because between you and me, rarely anyone comes over to my house. And when it comes to Stealth Inc. 2's visual fidelity, it looks pretty good, with shadows having a major factor in the construction of the stages and overworld. The game runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, except for the times when the game freezes when it's loading another area of the map. And since the game does take place in one giant testing facility, the environments can get to feel pretty samey. Now, don't get me wrong, the environments are in no way bad, and each section may have a different color to help distinguish between areas, but it's mostly just one big mechanical workshop. But on the other hand, the music is really well done, with it being very synth heavy, and it gets bumpin'. The soundtrack is definitely moody, which fits the atmosphere really well, and it will even ramp up at times to create that wonderful thing called tension. The ear food that Curve Studios dished out as we run around as little ball minions is pretty good stuff. Overall, Stealth Inc. 2 is a brilliant puzzling and stealthy platformer that any Wii U owner should check out. The more open experience of a Metroidvania styled overworld blends beautifully with, essentially, a stage select screen built right into it. Curve Studios creates some engaging and thought-provoking puzzle solutions that will get you using your various gadgets in ways you may not even have thought of. So in all, Curve Studios did a fantastic job with their Wii U exclusive, and the GamingPixelShow.com finds Stealth Inc. 2 to be an amazing game. And if you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up and add your favorites and all that good stuff, and you can stay tuned for more videos in the future. But I will talk to you later in the next video, guys. Bye!